Good morning, everyone. Welcome to general session. Today is February 22nd, 2022, so 2/22/22. As a reminder, this is a public meeting and is being recorded. For all of you that are calling in, please ensure that you have muted your phone line by pressing *6. Thank you. And then next, we are going to start off with a Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner O'Grady.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our guest for today for Black History Month is the leader of the King Arts Complex, which has been an integral part of the African American community in Franklin County for decades. The King Arts Complex has connected the community through the arts, and we have been featuring some of those works this month along the first floor hallways of the county building. With us today is the King Arts Complex's Executive Director, Demetrius Neely, who has some community history to share. Director Neely, are you on with us this morning?
You are on, Commissioner. I'm just trying to.
Good morning.
Good morning. There you are. We can see you and hear you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to present just a few minutes with you this morning. It is always a pleasure. President Crawley, Commissioner Boyce, and Commissioner Brady, again, it's always a pleasure to meet with you. And I want to say Jody from your team has been marvelous to work with. As mentioned earlier, we have displayed some of the art of the King Arts Complex in the county buildings, and that's what I want to talk about this morning. Some of these artists who are giants, they're exquisite artists, and they are really art elite. And the pieces that you will see displayed in the county building are the pieces from some of the pieces from their body of work. And we had a little technology glitch this morning, so I can't share my screen, but I want to hold up each slide as I talk about it. This will only be about 10 minutes. And as I said, if I didn't say this, all these artists are from Central Ohio or have lived in Central Ohio. So we'll get started. So the first slide, again, these slides are in the county building, and they're also, this artwork is being displayed in the county building. And it's, of course, artwork from the King Arts Complex. So the first slide I'll start with, old-fashioned way. I'm going to hold it up in front of my camera. I hope you can see it, and I hope that's not disruptive. Let me know if that's disruptive, but I just hold it up real quickly. And that slide depicts our slave ship, the Middle Passage. The, as you all know, the arrival of Africans in America, African Americans, of course, now, but the arrival of Africans in America was through slave ships that came from the west coast of Africa, at various points, Senegal, Ghana, other places. And we have installed a slave ship inside our building that is a duplicate. If you go to Africa, we had the president of Accra, Ghana here a few years back, and he said this is an exact replica. So we were very proud of the work we've done with that. But the slave ship depicts what it looked like when the slaves entered the ship. They passed through the door of no return and entered the slave ship and the conditions of the slave ship. That artwork is completed by two artists, one Ohio, who's moving to Columbus, he says, and one who has resided in Columbus all his life. Mr. Woodrow Nash did a lot of the carvings that are inside the slave ship, and the artist who's from Columbus and who's one of the first African Americans to present commercial art in the old, I can't think of that department store that used to be downtown, but Mr. Ron Anderson did a lot of the work in that slave ship. And I'll just tell a quick story about Ron. He said that as he was doing the work, the ancestors would wake him up at night and encourage him to move forward with the work. So that starts the slave ship. The next thing I will show you is the outside of our building. So this is a mural. That mural was painted by Lance Johnson and a couple of our local artists who wanted to do a tribute to the civil rights movement. So a lot of those figures on the mural, if you come to our building, this is on the Garfield side, you will see a lot of national figures, but one of our favorite local figures, someone who I'm a big fan of, was Miss Mamie Moore, who was the grandmother of now passed on Otto Beatty Jr. And she's one of the figures because she is, of course, was a great local civil rights leader. But a lot of civil rights folks are on that mural, and it's just a tribute to civil rights as well as some of our victims of social injustice that have happened in the last, 20 years or so, like Mr. Trayvon Martin and others. The next slide I will show you is a slide of a family. So this slide depicts the cornerstone is this is by Mr. Omar Shaheed. And as he says, the family is the cornerstone of the community. And Omar's work is incredible. As I said, these guys are giants. He works in stone, and his stone is shipped from all over the world, mostly Africa. And it might be granite, it might be marble, but when you see his work, you might say, wow, how did he do that? But he's a sculptor, and he has, like I said, he's presented his work has been presented, and most of the stone is from Africa. The next artist who I'm going to showcase his work, and this is the Aquaba figure. Again, that figure is on the outside of the building. And if that's on the Garfield side as you're entering the building, it'll be the most prominent figure you see. The family is on the Mount Vernon Avenue side, which is another prominent sculpture. But back to Aquaba, the Aquaba figure is, that work is by Mr. Andrew Scott, who has illustrated his work all over the world. And Andrew Scott is just in a class by himself. If you are familiar with the Supreme Court of Ohio, there is a big gavel in the front of the building. That's Andrew Scott's work. And this Aquaba figure, he focuses a lot on African culture and brings the African culture to today's world so that we can understand the juxtaposition between the African culture art and today's world. The Aquaba figure may be the most recognized, if not one of the most recognized African art figures that people identify with Africa. And of course, the Aquaba figure is a fertility figure, and it has to do with, fertility. So when you come to the back of our building on the Garfield side, you'll see this figure that speaks to creating family. And when you go to the other side of the building, again, this is Andrew Scott. You'll see the family figure that I spoke of earlier by Mr. Omar Shaheed, and then you'll see the Conde figure, which I just showed you, which is Andrew Scott. And by the way, these the first figure, the Aquaba, is from the Ashanti peoples in Africa. They are out of Togo and out of Ghana. This Conde figure is such a magnificent figure. It speaks to protection. So they're positioned intentionally. The first figure speaks to creating family. When you come to the other side of the building, there's a figure that shows you family. And then you see the Conde figure, which speaks to protection. So it's positioned there to protect the building, to protect people, to protect the artifacts, to protect the art. And it is said that these figures have, there is a transparent box that sits like on the tummy of the figure that shows, that depicts the ancestors looking through it and adding another layer of protection. So just really very iconic and very meaningful work. The next slide I'll show you is Mr. Walt Neal. And Walt Neal was one of the first muralists in Columbus, he painted all over Columbus. I don't know if a lot of his work is still around, but before people were doing murals, he was doing murals. And this picture was a picture of an African forest, which is actually inside our building. And it has been here for decades. And it's as brilliant and as prominent as it ever was. So that's Mr. Walt Neal, who has just recently passed on, a native of Cleveland that lived in Columbus. This next slide I'm going to show you is the only person that's not from Columbus. That is a bust of Dr. King. There's only a couple of them in the world, and we own one of them. And this is celebrated with Harlem Renaissance artist Elizabeth Catlett, and her work is, just pretty renowned and very rare to have work by Elizabeth Catlett. She was, again, lived during the Harlem Renaissance. So that's the only non-Ohio person. And then the last two slides are from our beloved Amina Brenda Lynn Robinson. And of course, this slide depicts the work, the longest running Black business in America, continuously running Black business in America, is the E.E. Ward Moving and Storage Company. And it is now owned by a local businessman, Mr. Brian Brooks. But the E.E. Ward Moving and Storage Company was famous for moving pianos, and they moved millions of pianos. They started in the 1800s, and Mr. E.E. Ward was a member of Second Baptist Church, and there's a lot of legendary information about him around Columbus. And the last slide I'll show you is, again, Brenda Lynn Robinson, Amina, who requires no introduction, but we all know Amina was brilliant, and she actually got the Genius Award she was a MacArthur Fellow, which means Genius Award. The last slide that you'll see in the county buildings, and like I said, this work is also here, is Amina's, Amina loved her community. And Amina, she's also a historian. People know about her art, but if you look at her art, in all of her art, there's information. Her scholarship was extraordinary. And this last piece that I just showed you, was Amina's depiction of what Mount Vernon Avenue and Long Street used to look like back in the day, because this was a celebrated area. This was known as the $1 Million Block, and so many businesses in such a celebrated brand area. And that was the last slide that I have in my group of slides. As always, I'm glad to answer any questions, and thank you for your attention this morning. I hope you enjoy the work at the county buildings.
Thank you, Director Neely, so much for that presentation. I will open it up to my colleagues to see if they have comments.
I guess I'll start. Ms. Neely, thank you so much for the presentation. I think the connection between history and art, and more importantly, African-American contributions, especially during the month of February, is just such a crucial part of our history. And you started off talking about the Middle Passage, and remember, the very first slave ship was known to arrive in America in 1619. And when slavery ended in 1863, slavery had existed in America as an official way of doing business for almost 250 years. Okay, so think 250 years, hundreds of years and generations.
Hey, Lark, good morning. It's Jim Schimmer. I am at 61.
Hey, Jim. You're not on mute.
And that was Jim's rendition of African American history. Now, Demetrius, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. And so where I was going with it was that, so you think about nearly 250 years of slavery existing in America, and then since then, from 1863 to now, about 150 years, a little under 160 years, which means that slavery as an institution existed in America longer than it has not existed in America so far. We're 100 years away from matching the number of years that it existed. So my point for that is that art and history and African-American contributions to the American way of life and telling the story is so crucial to our healing process and our growing process. And so the art you depicted from Omar Shaheed to Amina Robinson, just very iconic artistic leaders and contributors to American history are crucial. But for them to be a part of the Franklin County facilities and be a part of our everyday transaction, our everyday way of being and living and conducting business for the public of Franklin County is just a crucial part of connecting the dots and our story to not African American history, but American history. And it's just so important. And I want to thank you for all that you do in the work that the King Arts Complex represents in Central Ohio. As a young person growing up in Central Ohio, it is the only thing that I can remember that did this, that brought kids from schools and you could see your history. You could feel good about the artistic expression and the history and the stories being told from West Africa to East Africa to America, and feel good about yourself and good about the history of America, or at least the trajectory of the history of America. And so thank you for that contribution. And more importantly, thank you for sharing those lovely pieces of work. It'd be great if you would go extend that directly into the commissioner's offices, but that's something we can talk about another time. I'll just throw that out there. Everybody heard it here. It'd be great to have some of that in our offices long term. So thank you so much for the beautiful historic contribution today.
Commissioner Boyce stole my thunder, Director Neely. So we've all got our connections to the King Arts Complex, and what a wonderful facility it is. We've all, been there many times over the years. But we have a program here with the Columbus Museum of Art where we have art in public spaces. And what I was going to say, Commissioner Boyce stole my thunder, was maybe we need to be working with the King Arts Complex on a long-term art in public spaces connection with the King Arts Complex, so that we can display some of the art that you have there here at the county courthouse on a permanent basis. I know that I'm certain that we'd like to have it all. We all have art in our offices from the Museum of Art. I'm sure that we'd like to have some of your art in our offices. We should have it in the courthouse so that the public could see it on a daily basis. I mean, we have art here in the hearing room this morning, but having some of the art from your facility here, so that the public that's here every day. I mean, we have a huge traffic of Franklin County residents that are in and out of this complex on a daily basis, and the idea that they would get to see it here every single day and know that it resides at the King Arts Complex, would be, I think, beneficial not only for the public but also for your facility. I think it'd be a great thing if we could work something out.
We would love that. Thank you. We will work with you on that.
All right.
Music to my ears.
And I echo what both my colleagues said. Especially right now, I have a lot of space in my office for artwork to be displayed, and would love to have some. But just always thank you for the work that you do and continuing to lead the King Arts Complex. Commissioner Boyce stole some of my thunder as well to talk about how long slavery was in place, and how we are not that far removed from that time. And that's why I say, every day is a day to celebrate Black history, because of the pieces of art and the slides that you presented today continues to show our history and how it impacts everyday life here in Columbus, from artists who continue to remind us where we come from and our ancestors and all that they endured to, open doors for us today. And Franklin County Board of Commissioners has been supportive of some of the summer youth programs that you all have at the King Arts Complex, because we understand that it is so important for our youth to have opportunities to learn about their history and see where they came from, their ancestors came from, and then for them to be inspired and be visionaries themselves. And we continue to support that and look forward to supporting more programs this year. And so just want to say thank you for being that staple in the community. And with that, you are welcome to stay for general session. But we know you have a busy life too, and so if you have to run, we understand. But again, thank you so much for your presentation this morning.
Thank you as well. It's always a pleasure, and I hope you enjoy the work that is displayed in the courthouses. Take care.
Absolutely. You do
Thank
the
you.
same. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Okay, we also have today a man whose work has helped a great number of Franklin County residents over the decades. Though he did this work without fanfare or notoriety, he will be recognized today. So Bill Dawson joined the Franklin Park Conservatory and Botanical Gardens in January 1992 and served as its director much of that time. However, some of his greatest accomplishments were hidden from the public eye in neighborhoods across the county. Hundreds of these communities have gardens thanks to his involvement or guidance. These gardens have touched thousands of lives and have helped residents live healthier, more self-sustainable lives. Mr. Dawson is retiring now, and we wanted to thank him for all that he has done for Franklin County residents. Your skills have been a gift to the county, Mr. Dawson. We thank you for your service and all that you have done, and we have a resolution to present to you this morning.
So before we do that, do you
Yeah.
mind if I?
Absolutely.
So my history as a county commissioner dates back to Bill, but our families have known each other, basically all my life. Bill grew up with my older brothers and sisters, and I grew up with his younger sisters. So the O'Grady family and the Dawson family have known each other for a generation or so. But when I became a county commissioner in 2009, my office got involved in community gardening, got involved in growing right away. And then throughout the entire time I've been a commissioner, we've been involved in growing and then involved in the food work that we've done throughout the time that I've been a county commissioner. And Bill's been involved in that from the very beginning. And the work that he's done in the community, in the area of community gardening, and more, obviously, has been, it's been crucial. When we started, back in 2009, there were probably half as many community gardens as there are today. And the fact that we have literally hundreds of community gardens in Franklin County is due in no small measure to the work that he's done. The Franklin County and the city decided we were gonna invest money in this area. We went out and found the money to be able to do it, but we couldn't do it without his knowledge and his expertise, his guidance, because otherwise we would have just been throwing money away. And Bill led us through all this over the years, and his passion for this kind of work. Everybody in this world, in this community, in this area, in this little part of Franklin County, knows and understands who Bill is. They all love him and respect him. They all seek his advice and guidance. Whether they're at the College of Food and Agriculture, Environmental Science at Ohio State, or they're part of the Franklin Park Conservatory, or they're one of the community partners that invest dollars in this work, or they're just growers and gardeners out there, or they're somebody that's created a neighborhood garden on the west side of town or on the east side of town, or they're new Americans that came and needed a place to grow, whether they're Bhutanese or they're Somali or whoever they might be. They all know Bill. They all have sought his advice and guidance over the years. And the funny part about it is I think Bill would have done this work whether he was getting a paycheck for it or not. And I've seen I don't do Facebook anymore, you guys know that, but when I have, or when my wife shows me, nowadays, you should see his Facebook page, because his own piece of property is like the most beautiful garden you've ever seen. And the stuff that he puts, out there on social media from the gardening that he's done over the years is just, it's amazing. So, it's a big congratulations to him for the amount of work that he's done over the years and the fact that he's getting to retire. but at the same time, it's a huge loss for the community because he's a true gem for what he's given to the community over the years. So Franklin County says thank you for all the work that you've done and all the things that you've taught everybody over the years. So we thank you.
I'll just thank you, Madam President. I'll echo everything that Commissioner O'Grady just illustrated. Bill, thanking you for your service. But let me just zero in on another aspect. You know, the Franklin Park Conservatory and Botanical Gardens have been very much a historical part of Central Ohio. But that particular community, in I think around, I want to say 89, 90, there was a Mariflora that really changed the landscape of what used to be Franklin Park, which is simply Franklin Park, and it was really a hub for the African-American community to come together. And then the Mariflora came and sort of transformed it into a higher level, and there was a lot of controversy around that. I know you remember that. And the transition to integrate the Franklin Park Conservatory and Botanical Gardens into the community as seamlessly as possible, and to exist as a neighbor, a sort of a corporate citizen, if you will, and really be a part of the community has been textbook, you know, not perfect, but as best that it can be. And I know for a fact that you have been very much a part of that transition, very much a part of that, the synchronization of that new thing of what was Franklin Park into the community. And today what exists is a beautiful partnership where gardens exist throughout that community, where the engagement with the community is as strong as it has ever been, and the park is utilized in a way that it should be. And that's just something that you just don't see every day. And I just want to commend you, because I know personally that you have been a conduit to some of that transition and where we are today. So thank you so much on behalf of Central Ohio for your contribution in making that community what it is today. Thank you so much.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention my good friend, Michael Duty, who I know is a friend of Mr. Dawson, who made me aware of his work a long time ago. And so I think he's watching this morning. And so just wanted to let you know that. And so with that, you know, we will present you with this resolution.
Well, I won't talk forever, and somebody might have to stop me, but Commissioner O'Grady, thank you for sponsoring this resolution and all of the work you've done with us, and me personally and professionally. Thank you. Commissioner Boyce, your words were spot on. I mean, about Mariflora, the community.
1992, right?
1992, Mariflora 92.
Okay. I knew I was close.
Commissioner President Crawley, thank you as well. All of you have a long-standing support of the Franklin Park Conservatory. And I came to the conservatory, they borrowed me from Oakland Nursery in '91, and my first touch with community and gardening, I was doing gardening before, commercial landscape and that sort of thing, but the community and gardening was my first touch in the neighborhood. They borrowed me to run a youth program. landscaping all the houses around the park, just fronts only, pretty much, just the fronts. They each got $1,000. They got a landscape design. I had a dozen youth that were from the neighborhood, never had jobs before, may not have known plants unless they could smoke them. It was pretty rough at first. But these kids evolved and grew into community and taught me a lot. Taught me a lot about the neighborhood, the community, and basically I've lived there ever since that 91. Some of those kids were hired on to Ameriflora along with me. Others went on to start their own businesses, a couple guys in a pickup truck and doing landscaping. One went on, he was in the program and had already been charged as an accomplice in murder, and this was part of his remediation being in this program, but also he still had to serve 18 months in prison. He studied horticulture in prison after that program, came out and started his own business. So there were success stories. The community was another thing because they had to see the park be closed for a number of years. They were fenced out. They were priced out. My first act coming on after Ameriflora was over was planting flowers at every entryway to welcome our neighbors back. It was tough to see that people lived right across the street and couldn't come over to Ameriflora to see it, but they had to deal with all the parking and traffic and everything else. So that controversy was there, but I think we've taken very smart steps since then in opening up the park back to the community and being a good neighbor. And a big part of that was in 2000, one of our strategic plans and asking the neighbors, what can we do for you? How can we be better neighbors? And one of those was, you've got a lot of expertise inside the building. We need some help out here in the community with our gardens. And so that evolved into the Growing to Green program that I started in 2000. At that time, there were 12 gardens in Columbus that I could find, and most were on the Near East Side. So we started helping those gardens, but then that grew into 300 gardens that we've assisted, and those are church gardens, those are school gardens, those are urban farms, those are community gardens. So they are everywhere, and they're out there, and Franklin County Commissioners has a long-standing record of helping. Building gardens. You built 2 gardens, the Mound Street Garden, the garden over at Gantz Road that got moved over to behind Children's Services, Frank Road, that are helping new Americans and international community and refugees. So you have a long-standing commitment to the community, to the gardens, to local food, the food access plan that you've been heavily involved in. So I just really want to thank you for all that you've done to support the conservatory and the programs like Growing to Green, because out there in each community, these gardening becomes very secondary to the community part of fellowship and culture. Food is culture and culture is food. It all goes back to that. So celebrating culture is celebrating food. And people are proud of the food they grow. That's why they want to give you their extra zucchini and their extra tomatoes, and they want to share it because they're proud of it. And so over at the Frank Road Garden, I learned a lot from the Somali. They taught me some dry land farming techniques, where one day all the men were digging what I thought was a trench around the garden, and I asked them, and they said, no, that's a berm. So when it rains, everything comes in and sits in the garden and percolates down. We don't have to water for days and days and days. And so they were teaching me while I was teaching them. And so it's been quite a journey to see these gardens evolve. And you have been there with me the whole way, helping out. The Urban Garden Grant that you spoke of, the city provides some money, the county provides some money, Scott's Miracle-Gro provides some money, all through the Columbus Foundation, to give these gardens that boost to get started or expand or to grow. So I just really want to thank you for the longstanding support. We couldn't have done it without you. And so it is kind of bittersweet that I still have the gardeners calling me, so that's I'm still going to be out in the community. I'm still going to be helping, and anything that I can do for you guys, please let me know.
See, he'd still do it even if he didn't get paid.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Before we go on with the regular agenda, I just want to recognize Administrator Wilson.
Thank you, President Crowley, Commissioner Grady, Commissioner Boyce. I just want to very briefly mention Sankofa 2022, which is a celebration of leadership. And it's the annual signature event of the Columbus Afrocentric Early College Pre-K-12. And it recognized the contributions of African Americans living and working or emerging from the greater Columbus area. It will be on NBC4 tonight at 7:30. It will be live and it will be streamed. It's a great event. This is the 5th year of the event. I had the pleasure to serve on the advisory board since the inception. A lot of great honorees being recognized for their contributions. Our very own President Eric Crowley is being recognized this evening as an emerging leader in government. Donna and Larry James are this year's legacy honorees, along with Autumn Glover and Dr. Frederick Berkeley and many other distinguished African-American leaders in this community. So this is an opportunity to see examples of Black excellence this evening. So I just wanted to have that moment of personal privilege to encourage people to watch tonight. It's a great production, award-winning production, matter of fact, from the last year. Thank you, President Crowley.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I hope everyone tunes in. It will be a really great presentation. All right. If I can get the approval of the minutes of the February 8th, 2022 general session and the January 13th and the February 17th, 2022 briefing sessions.
I'll move approval of the minutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded in voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Aye.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Thank you. The minutes have been approved.
Thank you. First up, we have Clerk of Courts.
Resolution number 11022. Resolution authorizing an agreement with Caresoft Technology Corporation for incident and asset management software in the amount of $10,793.88.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Jeff Berry, Assistant Director of Technology on behalf of Clerk of Courts Mary Ellen O'Shaughnessy. This resolution authorizes an agreement with Caresoft Technology Corporation for their ServiceNow incident and asset management software to support the Clerk of Courts IT division. We have been using this software for the last 2.5 years for tracking issues from e-filers, attorneys, the courts served by our office, and internal staff. Pending any questions, I request your approval of this resolution.
There are no comments or questions. I'll move approval of Resolution 11022.
Second.
Moved and seconded in voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Sorry, what?
Do you vote yes?
Yes on the Clerk of Courts.
Yes.
Resolution number 11022 has been adopted.
Thank you. Next, we have the Coroner.
Resolution number 11122. Resolution authorizing a transfer of general fund appropriations for the Franklin County Coroner's Office.
Good morning, Commissioners. Let me make sure I was still on. My name is Amanda Wright. I am with the Coroner's Office. I'm the Director of Operations representing Dr. Annie Ortiz, the Coroner. This resolution authorizes a transfer of general fund appropriations from the Commissioner's Contingency Fund to the Coroner's Office in the amount of $486,000. $320,000 of that total amount will be for an intergovernmental agreement with Hamilton County to provide forensic pathology services. $100,000 of that $486,000 will go to a modification that we did with SOAR mortuary transport, and that was out of a previous resolution. And then the last portion would be for $66,000 with the contract with AMN Healthcare, also a previous resolution to provide pathology recruiting services for the Coroner's Office. Pending any questions, we ask for your approval of this resolution.
If there are no questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 11122.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 11122 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Next, we have engineer.
Resolution number 11222, resolution approving the 2021 annual county highway system mileage report.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Cornell Robertson, Franklin County Engineer and Franklin County Drainage Engineer. Commissioners, this first resolution is for the 2021 Annual County Highway Mileage System Report. Your certification of this report is required for the county engineer to receive a portion of the state motor vehicle registration fees to maintain our transportation infrastructure. From 2020 to 2021, the centerline mileage decreased 1 mile from 260 miles to 259 miles, due primarily to annexations and is a common amount of annual decrease. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
There are no comments or questions. I'll move approval of resolution 11222.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 11222 has been adopted. Resolution number 11322, resolution accepting the annual bridge inspection report for 2021.
This resolution is for the 2021 Annual Bridge Inspection Report. As you know, the county engineer is responsible for construction, reconstruction, improvements, maintenance, and repair of all bridges under the jurisdiction of the Board of Commissioners. All 365 of our bridges must be inspected every year per the Ohio Revised Code. 97% of our bridges are rated either fair, satisfactory, good, very good, or excellent. None are rated worse than poor, and only 11 are rated poor, which are currently under design or planned for rehabilitation. Only 2 bridges are posted with weight reduction limits, but those postings are for large, specialized emergency vehicles that are not being used in Franklin County. This resolution seeks acceptance of the annual bridge inspection report for 2021. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move for approval of resolution 11322.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 11322 has been adopted.
Thank you. We have a public hearing. Can the clerk please read the public hearing?
Resolution regarding establishing, altering, and widening of Treby Road, County Road number 27 at Mapleway Drive and Hague Avenue, County Road number 66, Franklin Township and Norwich Township, Franklin County, Ohio, viewed engineer to file plans as necessary.
I would like to open the public hearing for this resolution. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this public hearing? Seeing none, I would like to close the public hearing and have the clerk read the resolution into the record.
Resolution number 11422, establishing, altering, and widening of Treby Road, County Road number 27 at Maple Drive and Hague Avenue, County Road number 66, Franklin Township and Norwich Township, Franklin County, Ohio, viewed engineer to file plans as necessary.
This capital improvement project is in the northwest part of the county on the line between Franklin Township and Norwich Township at the intersection of Treby Road, Hague Avenue, and Mapleway Drive. We would like to perform a feasibility study to investigate intersection improvement alternatives. This resolution is the second in a series of 2 to declare the project necessary, states the project was viewed, and allows the engineer's office to begin designing the improvement. I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
There are no comments or questions. I'll move approval of resolution 11422.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 11422 has been adopted.
Thank you. We have a public hearing, another public hearing. Can the clerk please read the public hearing?
Resolution regarding establishing, altering, and widening of Walnut Street, County Road number 19 at New Albany Conde Road, State Route 605, Plain Township, Franklin County, Ohio, viewed engineer to file plans as necessary.
I would like to open the public hearing for this resolution. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this public hearing? All right, seeing none, I would like to close the public hearing and have the clerk read the resolution into the record.
Resolution number 11522, establishing, altering, and widening of Walnut Street, County Road number 19 at New Albany Conde Road, State Route 605, Plain Township, Franklin County, Ohio. Viewed, engineer to file plans as necessary.
This capital improvement project is in the northeast part of the county in Plain Township at the offset intersections of Walnut Street at State Route 605, also known as New Albany Conde Road. It is a cooperative project among Franklin County, Plain Township, City of New Albany, and the Ohio Department of Transportation. This resolution is the second in a series of two to declare the project necessary, states the project was viewed, and allows the engineer's office to begin designing the improvement. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have a question. Is that a cup of coffee you had in your hand? That thing was huge. Can you show, look at how
Very
big that
thirsty.
thing is. That's a lot of
Gotta
coffee.
get my water intake.
That's
Just
water.
dehydrated.
That's water. Okay.
It's just the angle of the camera.
Yeah. It looked huge when you, I was like, geez.
If there are no other comments or questions, I will move approval of Resolution 11522.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 11522 has been adopted. Resolution number 11622, authorizing the county engineer to apply for a Safe Route to School project grant from the State of Ohio Department of Transportation.
This resolution authorizes the engineer's office to apply for Safe Routes to School project grants through the Ohio Department of Transportation. In further support of the engineer's Complete Streets policy, these grant applications are for safety improvements in the vicinity of 4 schools throughout Franklin County as follows. New sidewalk on McVeigh Boulevard and Millbrae Road serving Brookside Elementary School in Perry Township, along with accessible curb ramps, pavement markings, and signage. Number 2, accessible curb ramps, beacons, pavement markings, and signage on Stiles Avenue serving Stiles Elementary School in Franklin Township. Number 3, new sidewalk on Briggs Road serving West Franklin Elementary School in Franklin Township, along with accessible curb ramps, beacons, pavement markings, and signage. And number 4, new sidewalk on Candlewood Drive serving Worthington Hills Elementary School in Perry Township, along with pavement markings and signage. Pending any questions, I request your approval.
I have a question. Thank you, Mr. Engineer. On the resolution, it says the total cost of the project is estimated to be $400,000. Is this for all 4 improvements, or is that per project, per school? I'm just trying to.
That would be all projects added together,
Added
our
together.
estimate this time.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't have any other clarifying questions.
There are no other questions. I'll move approval of Resolution 11622.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 11622 has been adopted. Resolution number 11722, American Structure Point Incorporated consulting engineers appointed to assist the Franklin County engineer in performing preliminary engineering for improvements at the intersection of Havens Corners Road, County Road number 16, at Taylor Station Road, County Road number 208, and Man Road, Township Road number 107, Jefferson Township, Franklin County, Ohio, in the amount of $82,880.
This capital improvement project is in the northeast part of the county in Jefferson Township along Havens Corners Road from Taylor Station Road to Man Road. This is a cooperative project among Franklin County, Jefferson Township, City of Gahanna, a private developer, and the Franklin County Transportation Improvement District to improve a signalized T intersection and a stop-controlled T intersection with a roundabout. This resolution is a preliminary design contract with American Structure Point. We use the qualifications-based selection process, and American Structure Point is a local firm. I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 11722.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 11722 has been adopted. Resolution number 11822. Compass Infrastructure Group Consulting Engineers appointed to assist the Franklin County Engineer with general engineering services, Franklin County, Ohio, in the amount of $100,000.
This resolution is a design contract with Compass Infrastructure Group for general engineering services. Compass Infrastructure Group is a local DBE, SBE, EDGE, and WBE certified engineering firm, and we utilize the qualifications-based selection process for this recommendation. The first task order includes an evaluation of the condition and load capacity of 5 separate county-maintained bridges. Compass will recommend repairs to extend the useful life of the bridge and/or increase the load carrying capacity. They will prepare formal bridge design reports for each structure that will include a summary of condition, deficiencies, and desired outcomes, along with a cost estimate and/or cost comparisons per the project scope. The 5 bridges are as follows: London Lancaster Road over Little Walnut Creek, Walnut Street over Beebleheimer Ditch, Grove City Road over Hell Branch Run, Norton Road over Hell Branch Run, and Alcar Road over Hell Branch Run. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of resolution 11822.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 11822 has been adopted. Resolution number 11922. Resolution authorizing the Franklin County Engineer to enter into a contract modification with Strasser Paving Company Incorporated for the private water service plan for the Franklin County Engineers East Maintenance Facility, an increase of $11,746.27 for a revised contract amount of $179,236.07.
This resolution is a construction contract modification with Strasser Paving Company to install a water line to serve the engineer's east maintenance facility with public water at address 4801 Hendron Road. During construction, it was discovered that the tie-in location for the existing water main was 9 feet deeper than anticipated, resulting in a redesign of the water main connection and an increase in the cost of construction. Pending any questions, I request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I can move approval of resolution 11922.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 11922 has been adopted. Resolution number 12022. Petition filed for vacation of a portion of James Road, County Road number 97, City of Columbus, Franklin County, Ohio.
This right-of-way vacation is in the city of Columbus in the vicinity of John Glenn International Airport for a portion of unimproved James Road north of Bridgeway Avenue and south of I-270. This resolution is the first in a series of 3 for vacating the right-of-way. Columbus Regional Airport Authority filed the petition. We will determine if the vacation is warranted as we move forward with the process. This resolution also fixes March 15th at 11 a.m. for the viewing and April 5th at 9 a.m. as the final hearing. I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of resolution 12022.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 12022 has been adopted.
Thank you all very much. Have a great Tuesday, 2/22/22. Thank you.
Thank you. It is, I'm so tickled by that it is Tuesday. Literally. Have a wonderful
Yeah.
day, engineer.
Thank you. You all too, as well.
Thank you. Next, don't be laughing. It is so tickling.
It is funny. It's Tuesday.
Tues.
It's Tuesday.
Next, we have Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 12122. Resolution authorizing general fund support to the Franklin Soil and Water Conservation District for calendar year 2022.
Good morning, Commissioner. Zach Chalerick with the Office of Management and Budget. This resolution would authorize the annual contribution from the county's general fund to Franklin Soil and Water in the amount of $604,000. I believe Jennifer Fish, Executive Director of Soil and Water, is on the line to say a few words on this resolution.
Great.
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your continued support. It really does mean a lot for the future of natural resources in Franklin County. With your support, we provide assistance to stormwater program management in partnership with the county engineer, public health, and economic development and planning. Additionally, your support provides a good base of funding that allows us to improve wetlands and streamside habitat in the Darby watershed and throughout the county, provide resources through K-12 students to increase their awareness and appreciation of our natural resources, map and evaluate natural resource data throughout our county, develop public outreach programs with targeted messaging, marketing, and participation incentives, and provide training and education opportunities to local governments, stormwater and green industry professionals, and community organizations. This year, we will continue to work with the Franklin County Summer Camps Grant Program, Columbus Metropolitan Library, the City of Columbus, and other social service organizations to expand our reach in underrepresented communities. And as you know, Engineer Robertson is an important leader in this partnership. And if he is still around, I'd like to invite him to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Yes, I am. And I would like to share that, as you know, the Franklin County Drainage Engineer's Office is an agency of action, innovation, and collaboration. We certainly appreciate the collaboration and partnership of the Franklin Soil and Water Conservation District under the leadership of Director Jennifer Fish. Good stormwater management is vitally important to the quality of our environment, the safety of our drinking water aquifers, and therefore to the health of our constituents. I appreciate the support your board provides from the general fund to the Franklin Soil and Water Conservation District. Thank you.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 121-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 121-22 has been adopted.
Thank you. Everyone have a wonderful day. Next, we have the recorder.
Resolution number 122-22. Resolution authorizing a contract modification between the county and CoFile Technologies Incorporated to include a cloud-based public search application for the Recorder's County Fusion Records Management System in the amount of $128,333.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. Chris from the Recorder's Office seeking your approval for a contract modification with CoFile Technologies. CoFile operates our only search database for all real estate records in Franklin County. The system we have now is okay, but this new cloud-based search system will be more user-friendly, more efficient, much more search options, and just generally better for the residents of Franklin County. We're asking for an additional $35,000 per year to pay for this cloud-based search system from our technology fund. And again, I want to thank the data board, the prosecutor's office, and purchasing to help us over the last few months to get this through, and happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, we seek your approval.
Chris, can you get your dog to pop its head back up again for me, please?
She's so mad that it's raining outside and my car's getting fixed today, so I'm totally like cramping her style right now being calm.
All right, she stuck her head up earlier, so I just want, anyway,
Yeah.
on this 22222, I will gladly move for the approval of Resolution 12222.
Second. And I'll
Moved and-
second that too.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Anything to
Res- Resolution number 12222 has been adopted.
Anything to humor Commissioner Crowley.
I know, it's
Thank
the
you.
smallest
Thanks,
thing.
Chris.
It's the little things for me. Thank you, Chris. Have a wonderful day.
you, Commissioners.
Tuesday. All right, next we have the Sheriff's Office.
Resolution number 12322. Resolution authorizing countywide qualification contracts for fresh produce, fruit, and meat items in the amount of $620,000.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. Albert Smith, Assistant Finance Director for the Sheriff's Office. Approval of our resolution will qualify 5 vendors to bid on weekly produce supplied to the county correctional facilities. It will also qualify 4 vendors to bid on a 5-week cycle to supply various meat products. Due to the frequent price fluctuations, this is a consistent way to handle the bidding of these jail menu items to allow us to get the best possible pricing and the vendors to stay competitive with one another. Pending any questions, I request passage of this resolution.
There's no comments or questions. I'll move approval of Resolution 12322.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 12322 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next we have Emergency Management Agency.
Resolution number 12422. Resolution authorizing a contract modification with Meridian Rapid Defense Group, LLC, for the provision of the delivery and supply of mobile barriers in the amount of $500,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Young, representing Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security. This resolution is modifying our contract with Meridian Defense Group, increasing the contract's not to exceed amount by an additional $500,000. All other terms and conditions of the contract and GSA pricing remain the same. Meridian Defense Group is the provider of mobile vehicle barriers we have purchased and distributed across our Homeland Security region utilizing state Homeland Security grant funding. The previous not to exceed amount was specified based upon the initial project funding to purchase 4 trailers of mobile barriers. And in the aftermath of December's incident in Wisconsin involving a vehicle driving into a holiday parade, highlighting the threats to our public events, we have worked with the grant advisory groups to reprioritize our existing projects with the intent to purchase additional trailers and barriers. This contract modification was coordinated with the assistance of Franklin County Purchasing and will allow us to proceed with an additional 4 trailer purchase to be distributed to public safety agencies in 2022. I'll gladly answer any questions and ask for your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 12422.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 12422 has been adopted. Resolution number 12522. Resolution authorizing non-general fund supplemental appropriations related to a state Homeland Security Program grant award.
Commissioners, this resolution is to approve a non-general fund supplemental appropriation for the 2022 State Homeland Security Grant Program. This FY 2021 grant will actually fund projects in the area of cybersecurity, emerging threats, specialized team sustainment, soft target security, and mass casualty, mass fatality response. These projects reflect the regional award in which Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security acts as the coordinator and fiscal agency. This appropriation was not included in the 2022 agency budget due to the timing of the award notice from the state of Ohio. I'll gladly answer any questions and ask for your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 12522.
Second.
Moved and seconded and voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 12522 has been adopted. Resolution number 12622. Resolution authorizing a non-general fund supplemental appropriation related to a state Homeland Security law enforcement grant award.
Commissioners, this resolution is for an additional non-general fund appropriation specific to the separate law enforcement portion of the State Homeland Security Grant Program. This is required to be budgeted and tracked completely separate from the full State Homeland Security Grant Award. This regional award will fund security staffing for high-profile events, digital communications technology, volunteer safety programs, educational conferences, and information sharing. I'll gladly answer any questions and ask for your approval of this resolution.
There are no comments or questions. I'll move approval of Resolution 12622.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 12622 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Office on Aging.
Resolution number 12722. Resolution authorizing 6 grant agreements to provide community stabilization services for Franklin County senior options in the amount of $245,164.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Amy Funk, Assistant Director of Administration, and joining me this morning is Director Orville Johns and Nancy Mayo, our Grants Administrator. Community stabilization is needed in distressed neighborhoods, especially those that are experiencing or are on the cusp of gentrification. Seniors in these neighborhoods are often at risk of losing their housing and their sense of belonging in a community. Projects funded under this category work by providing services and programming that help older residents stay in their homes, such as one-on-one assistance to seniors in crisis situations, especially housing-related ones such as eviction, linkage to home maintenance and repair resources, transportation, minor yard work, snow shoveling, as well as active opportunities to socialize and meet their neighbors. These grant agreements are in effect from January 1st through December 31st of 2022. Pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 12722.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 12722 has been adopted. Resolution number 12822. Resolution authorizing 5 grant agreements to provide small group transportation services for Franklin County senior options in the amount of $326,519.
The provision of small group transportation enables older residents to live an active, involved lifestyle without compromising their dignity, pride, and self-worth. These transportation trips cover medical and dental appointments, trips for personal errands such as picking up prescriptions, going to the grocery store or food pantry, runs to the local library, hair appointments, banks, and to the senior center. Group outings provide valuable social interaction with peers and open a world outside the client's own home. These grant agreements are in effect from January 1st through December 31st, 2022. Pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
And if there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 12822.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 12822 has been adopted. Resolution number 12922. Resolution authorizing 5 grant agreements to provide outreach services for Franklin County senior options in the amount of $342,563.
The grant agencies in this category target special population seniors in the community. These include the homebound, hard to reach, very low income seniors, Holocaust survivors, refugees and immigrants, among others. The services are tailored to meet the specific needs of these particular populations, thereby assisting them to live as independently with an improved quality of life. These services are diverse and can include group socialization activities, peer support groups, translation services, and friendly visits. These grant agreements are in effect from January 1st through December 31st of 2022. Pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no further comments or questions, I will move approval of Resolution 12922.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 12922 has been adopted. Resolution number 13022. Resolution authorizing 7 grant agreements to provide supportive services for Franklin County senior options in the amount of $772,688.
Commissioners, under this grant category, grant agencies provide services previously known under the Older Americans Act as community outreach. Specific services can include client finding, bill paying assistance, accessing public benefits such as Medicaid and supplemental security income, and help with acquiring material assistance. Supportive services workers go to a client's home to provide these services and is a valuable tool that enables seniors to continue living independently. These grant agreements are in effect from January 1st through December 31st of 2022. Pending any questions, I respectfully request approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 13022.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 13022 has been adopted. Resolution number 13122. Resolution authorizing the acceptance of a donation from Zangmeister Cancer Center American Oncology Partners to the Franklin County Office on Aging in the amount of $10,000.
This resolution authorizes acceptance of a generous donation in the amount of $10,000 from the Zangmeister Cancer Center American Oncology Partners for the second year in a row. The Zangmeister Cancer Center provides outpatient treatment for cancer and blood disorders, as well as a variety of other related services, allowing most patients to receive all of their cancer services in one convenient location. In addition to their medical services, the Zangmeister Cancer Center also gives patients access to licensed social workers who specialize in cancer care, as well as educational resources to help their patients learn as much as possible about their cancer and its treatment. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Director Johns to share a few words.
Thank you, Amy. We extended an invitation to the team at Zangmeister Cancer Center, and they had a conflict, but I wanted to personally extend a warm welcome and thank you from the entire team at Franklin County Office on Aging to Stephen Swart, Regional Senior Vice President, Jean Coleman, Dana Zager, and the entire team at the Zangmeister Cancer Center for this award. As Amy mentioned, this is the second year in a row that we have been selected to receive this amazing donation, and we're honored to be chosen. Last year, the donation was $6,250, and this year, an impressive $10,000. Also, it is my understanding that the entire staff at the Cancer Center personally contributed to the donation, making it a double honor to be awarded this donation by the center and their talented team. Zangmeister Center is dedicated to providing the best quality care for their patients and families, and the center adheres to a holistic approach to patient care. They provide the most advanced technological care while meeting the physical, social, emotional, economic, and spiritual needs of each individual they serve. The Cancer Center is a wonderful partner in the work of ensuring the health of our residents, and we greatly appreciate the work that they continue to do for the aging population. Pending any questions, I ask that you approve this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I will move approval of Resolution 13122.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 13122 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Economic Development and Planning.
Resolution number 13222. Resolution authorizing a COVID-19 recovery grant with Columbus State Community College, Ohio Small Business Development Center for the provision of program administration services for the COVID-19 Small Business Response and Recovery Program in the amount of $500,000.
Commissioners, good morning. Jim Shimmer. There will be two resolutions tied to each other this morning. This is the first one that relates back to the work that we've been doing to support small business through the COVID-19 period. This is actually the second year that we are funding this particular program, which is along with our partners at the City of Columbus to really provide a one-door entry for small businesses who need assistance at this particular point in time. To try and work through the effects of the pandemic on their businesses. Emmanuel Torres, my assistant director, is going to take you through both of these resolutions. But I will tell you that it follows on the heels of the work that you have already done and programs that you have already put in place. The Franklin County Loan Fund, for example, with ECDI, the Equity Fund that we have done this year with $2.1 million contribution with the Columbus Urban League, and now this second program for the COVID Small Business Response and Recovery Fund. Small businesses need our assistance even now. They are in a position where they are tenuous at best in some cases, and they are in a place where we have the ability to help them. The program has been one that has evolved through time, put together this year, and again, with different vendors to provide services. But I will let Emmanuel take you through both of these resolutions, and then certainly any questions you have, we'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Director Schimmer. Good morning, commissioners, administrators, and staff. Again, my name is Emmanuel Torres. I'm the Assistant Director of Economic Development Planning, and I will be presenting the first of 3 resolutions on behalf of EDP. And these first 2 resolutions, as Director Schimmer alluded to, go parallel with each other as they are essential for the deployment and administration of the COVID-19 Columbus Franklin County Small Business Response and Recovery Grant Program. This partnership initiative with the City of Columbus will allocate a total of $10 million in coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds, $5 million from the county and $5 million from our partners at the City of Columbus to assist small businesses in Franklin County impacted by COVID-19. This first is a resolution authorizing a COVID-19 recovery grant agreement for $500,000 with Columbus State Community College, Ohio Small Business Development Center, otherwise known as the Sbdc, to carry out program administration services. Under the terms of the agreement, the Sbdc will be in charge of program administration, which includes but not limited to program coordination and the launch of it, which is scheduled for March 1st, and also entrepreneurial support organizations and community outreach partners management. The program marketing, which a subrecipient will engage, this subrecipient, Sbdc, will engage with a Franklin County-based marketing agency to plan, manage, and execute the strategy to promote the program, and also they will be monitoring the grant funds impact. The Columbus Franklin County Small Business Recovery Grant will provide 3 types of grants to support businesses. 1, recovery grants to self-employed, single entity, sole proprietors, sole owners, LLCs, that will be at a level of up to $5,000. Secondly, recovery grants to small businesses with at least 1 W-2 employee for $10,000 in grants. And lastly, a job retention grants to small businesses seeking to rehire at least 1 full-time employee, and that amount will be up to $10,000. One key point I would like to highlight is that the program, among many different layers of eligibility, we are using both the LMI block and the census tract data as part of the eligibility and application scoring process. This agreement will be supported by funds awarded to Franklin County by the U.S. Department of Treasury through the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds established under Title IX of the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Joining us today are virtually our guests, Michael Bowers, who's the director of the Sbdc, as well as Ellen Harvey, who's a certified business advisor at the Sbdc and has been instrumental in coordinating the setting up and establishing many layers of this program as she's been involved in assisting small businesses in our county for some time. Pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 13222.
I do a quick question. Are there going to be any posts in terms of advertising this, or are you just going to use the agencies that are going to deploy the funds? Or will the county have any posts? Because it's just really important that the public know these are county funds, even though they're going through another agency. And so I just want to make sure that we're promoting it too as Franklin County.
Commissioner Boyce, we are definitely going to do that. We have a strategy for media outreach, and we've been talking to our own folks within the county to understand how these dollars are actually being deployed and advertised, because that is the key thing, is we are only as good as our advertising is going to be to make sure we get the word out to everyone. So yes, there is a good media strategy that has been put in place.
Great, thank you, Director Schimmer. And I would just ask too that if there is social media posts or whatever that the commissioners can utilize for our social media outlets and our own direct social media outlets, I think that'd be a great resource, because I know, I speak on behalf of my colleagues when I say we all get calls from small businesses and they're always waiting for the next tranche of funds, and so it's nice when we can put it out there and say, okay, we've been asking for it, so that would be great if you could coordinate with our folks too to make sure that we have that resource.
We will do that. We understand that is so important to our small businesses, is that contact.
The only other thing I'll add to the administrator, I'll say, this is one of those things where a mobile unit going out to some of the small businesses, places in the short north and, in other parts of the county, different suburbs, and just kind of making sure people are aware of the program and aware of the resource and have the ability to sign up and know that the county resource, this is another example of how our resources are just sometimes so critical to the strength of Central Ohio. And so, because I love the program, I just want to make sure people know it's Franklin County funds. So that's my only point. Thank you.
All right, well, if there are no further comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 13222.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 13222 has been adopted. Resolution number 13322. Resolution authorizing a COVID-19 recovery grant with the Wells Foundation for the COVID-19 Small Business Response and Recovery Program in the amount of $4,500,000.
Again, Commissioners, this resolution is to authorize a $4,500,000 COVID-19 recovery grant with the Wells Foundation to function as the fiscal agent on behalf of the county for the COVID-19 Columbus Franklin County Small Business Recovery Grant. The Wells Foundation, as a philanthropic organization working to create value for the Franklin County community by developing stronger nonprofit leaders, they manage a portfolio of program-related investments, fund administration, and fiscal management to provide organizations with flexible social capital for operational stability and growth initiatives. Under the terms of the agreement, the Wells Foundation will provide financial and performance management of the program funds and will serve as the fund's disbursement agent for applicants receiving grants awards. They will also coordinate and oversee the application review committee. This agreement will also be supported by funds awarded to Franklin County by the U.S. Department of Treasury through the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds established under Title IX of the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Joining us virtually today is Tony Wells, who's the president of the Wells Foundation. And pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 13322.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 13322 has been adopted. Resolution number 13422. Resolution authorizing the assignment and assumption agreement of the Enterprise Zone Agreement between Franklin County and HP3 Columbus Grove City LLC.
Commissioners, this next resolution is to authorize the assignment and assumption agreement of the Enterprise Zone Agreement between Franklin County and HB3 Columbus Grove City LLC. For a little background, in 2004, the Board of Commissioners adopted a resolution designating a portion of Grove City as an enterprise zone. Subsequently, the board adopted a resolution to enter into an enterprise zone agreement with Grove City MOB LLC to provide tax incentives in exchange for the construction of a new 50,000 square foot medical office building located at 5500 North Meadows Drive, Grove City, and the creation of new jobs and payroll. The property tax abatement provided by this enterprise zone agreement took effect in 2020 after the project was completed, and Grove City MOB LLC has successfully complied with the job creation, payroll, and private investment requirements of the agreement as monitored by the Franklin County Tax Incentive Review Council. As part of a corporate restructuring, Grove City MOB LLC has or will be transferring ownership of the facility located at the project site, and in connection therewith, the easy agreement to HB3 Columbus Grove City LLC. A provision of the Enterprise Zone Agreement contains a transferability provision requiring written approval from the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, which will authorize the transfer and assignment of benefits and obligations of the original Enterprise Zone Agreement to HB3 Columbus Grove City LLC. Joining us today virtually are guests Charlie Noon, who's a transaction coordinator for HAMS Partners, which is the investment management firm under which HB3 Columbus Grove City LLC was created for the purpose of ownership of this project. We also have Dana Genquito, partner at Reed Smith LLP, and they are outside counsel for HAMS Partners. We also have Cash Solars. He's the Chief Financial Officer for HPlex Solutions, which has been and will continue to provide property management services at the project site. Pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
Well, if there are no comments or questions, I will move approval of Resolution 13422.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 13422 has been adopted. Resolution number 13522. Resolution entering into a funding agreement with the Affordable Housing Trust to create more affordable home ownership and rental housing to strengthen neighborhoods within Franklin County in the amount of $3,400,000.
Commissioners, thank you. The Affordable Housing Trust was created as an independent, not-for-profit entity in 2001 in response to the effort of Franklin County and the city of Columbus to create more affordable housing and rental housing. That was 21 years ago, and our mission still continues today with our trusted partners at the Affordable Housing Trust. It is one of your top priorities, and one that I know the Affordable Housing Trust has done a fine job over the years of providing affordable housing with over 50 specific affordable housing projects and over $100 million in loans that have been closed. To support this initiative, commissioners, the Franklin County Board of Commissioners grant annually to the Affordable Housing Trust 1/2 of the actual permissive conveyance fee, or 0.05% per $100 in value of transferred real property and manufactured homes. This installment reflects a conveyance conveyance tax proceeds that were collected in the preceding quarter. This year, that amount will be $3.4 million, and it will be in general funds for the year 2022. I'd ask for your approval of this resolution unless you have any questions.
I don't have any questions. I just want to make a comment specifically to, I don't know if she's on, probably not, Lark Mallory, who leads the Affordable Housing Trust, and we stay in regular communication. Proud of the work that she is doing in the short time that she's been there. I think she's been there almost the same time I've been at the board, and looking forward to the vision that she has and some creative ideas when it comes to affordable home ownership and building and getting more developers and stuff into the market. So just really want to shout her out and just appreciate her ongoing communication about the thoughts that she has for the trust and working with her board.
All right, if there are no other comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 13522.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 13522 has been adopted. Resolution number 13622. Resolution awarding a service agreement between the Board of Commissioners and the Community Shelter Board to develop and implement strategies that decrease homelessness in Franklin County in the amount of $5,489,390.
Commissioner, similar to the funding source for the Affordable Housing Trust, the Community Shelter Board also, this is an annual service agreement with them and between the Board of Commissioners and the Shelter Board for implementation of strategies to decrease homelessness in Franklin County. The Shelter Board acts as a nonprofit organization that works to develop and implement strategies that decrease homelessness and increase the placement of homeless people into permanent housing in Franklin County. Through this annual agreement, the county shall grant to CSB 1/2 of the actual conveyance collections calculated at 0.05 cents per $100 of value transferred real property and manufactured homes to be paid in 4 quarterly installments. The installments reflect the conveyance tax proceeds that are actually collected during the preceding quarter and supplement general fund revenues not to exceed $5.48 million for 2022. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
I do have a couple of questions. Based on the briefing that we had last Thursday, I know I asked about outcomes and measurements for this year, and I know it's Exhibit A, but I also asked about last year's, and I haven't seen that to be able to compare. So, and I don't know if there's somebody on who can speak to this, but wanted to know, based on last year and the contribution from the county to the Shelter Board in our effort to decrease homelessness, how many persons were served by permanent housing?
Commissioner Crawley, I believe we have Michelle Heritage on the call today, and I'd like her to answer that question.
Okay, great, thank you.
Hi, thank you for the question, Commissioner. And I have materials here, and I'm going to have to look at those and give you a little bit of information on that. In terms of the number of folks, we had 1,946 units of permanent supportive housing operational. The number of persons served in that was 2,643 that were placed in those units. And the number of persons that were rehoused last year into the market, which is in the rapid rehousing space, was 867 that were served. And then in the homeless prevention, where we are doing one of two things, which is either to try and preserve the current housing if it's stable, or if the housing is unstable, we are rehousing folks. And that instability, most of our families are pregnant women, and our veterans are in a doubled up situation. And the family that's hosting them or the friends are asking them to move along, and we have to rehouse them. That was 560 households, and that includes families, usually with 3 to 4 children, pregnant women, and our veterans.
Thank you. So especially with the rehousing, And you said that was 867?
Yes.
Okay. So for this year's goal, you have, I think, a goal of 2,000 households to be served for rapid rehousing. And so if you could just talk to, maybe there was data from last year, and I guess people's circumstances, like how did you get to the place where 2,000 households would be served, or was the goal this year based on 867 being served last year? If you could just talk about what might be going on.
Sure, absolutely. What we saw last year with the partner agencies that were engaged in the rapid rehousing was a couple things happening. And one was it became really the second year in a row that it was really difficult for them to rehouse. That rehousing difficulty comes from a couple of things. One that we all know well is the lack of affordable housing. And we're seeing housing units that are under, say, $950 per month are really escalating. And the Affordable Housing Alliance did some looking at the data, and we lost about 18,000 of those units just in 1 year alone. And we gained about 22,000 units that were up over about 1,400. And that's just those rising rents of that naturally occurring affordable housing. So we noted with the partners that it's becoming more and more difficult for them to find safe, decent housing. And oftentimes the housing that is left is neither safe nor decent for them. That's one thing. We also had a lot of challenges. The partners were reporting to us in things that were really basic last year, trying to get somebody's social security card, trying to get their ID, and it really had to do with shutdowns. And we also saw that there wasn't as much movement in the rental properties as we had seen in the past. What we are hoping for is that we do not have another surge with another pandemic variant, and that we are going to go back to a more normalized way of being able to do this work and not have so many barriers. And there is additional dollars that have come through from the federal government, the state, and others through those ARPA dollars that are increasing the amount of ability of our partners to have more resources for rapid rehousing. So with all that, we've put the number there up where we've seen it in past years.
Thank you. And then my last question, I know that Deputy County Administrator Eric Janis asked last week about some information around veterans. Everyone knows veterans are near and dear to my heart. I'm a veteran, and homelessness, is complex and for our homeless population, period, but especially for veterans. And I know that we're not functional zero, but I know in the last quarter, at least, that you helped a number of veterans find permanent housing. But I would like to see us get to a place where we could be considered a place that is functional zero. We just went to NACO for the legislative conference, and there are a number of cities and counties across the country that are. So can you just talk to any efforts to move us to a place where we can be considered functional zero when it comes to housing veterans?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. We work very, very closely with our Veterans Administration on achieving this functional zero. One of the challenges we've had is that our veterans population has been fairly low. And so to get to functional zero, one of the things you have to do is you have to have more veterans getting housed than veterans that are becoming homeless. One of the challenges we have is when the community is growing as fast as we are, we've got so many people moving in to get them moved through. We oftentimes will touch functional zero, so we'll be there for a while, and then we will go back up again. The other thing that we've decided to do that we think is very important is many communities, when they offer a veteran housing several times, they will then take that veteran off the list of veterans that are quote unquote homeless. And we have decided that we don't think that is the right approach. And so our veterans, regardless of how many times we offer them housing, whether it's one time or 100 times, we will continue to work with them for as long as it takes to get them housed. And so we do know some numbers in some communities have decreased because of the way things are being counted. And we have just decided not to do that because we really want to make sure we have a true functional zero. Those are some of the challenges there. But as I said, we do have a great relationship with the Veterans Administration and the local folks here we work very closely with.
Thank you. As I was speaking with Secretary Fudge last week, I think when it comes to veterans in the VA isn't necessarily an advocacy group. And there's a lot of, if you're not a veteran, it's hard to explain the complicated relationship with the VA. But I would say with the Veterans Services Commission here in the county, last year they supported hundreds of veterans with rent and utility assistance who find themselves on the verge of homelessness, one flat tire away from being losing housing, and especially those who own their homes. And so just want to make sure that as you're working with the VA, there's a lot of veterans who do not engage with the VA for a lot of different reasons. And so we need to look outside of just the VA and other community-based organizations who may have interactions with veterans who are not connected to the VA, but still need support and assistance. And happy to have more ongoing discussion about that. But, and I know that HUD is, this is a priority for them as well. So look forward to speaking with you more about how to really decrease homelessness in Franklin County. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
If there are no other comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 13622.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 13622 has been adopted. Resolution number 13722, review of petition to annex .55 more or less acres from Sharon Township to the City of Columbus, case number ANX-03-22.
Good morning, Commissioners. Matt Brown, Planning Administrator with the Economic Development and Planning Department. This resolution is to consider an expedited Type 2 annexation petition of 0.55 acres, more or less, from Sharon Township to the City of Columbus. The area to be annexed includes property located at 155 Park Road, parcel ID numbers 250-002538 and 250-002545. The petition was filed by agent and attorney Craig Moncrief, Esquire, of the Plank Law Firm, on behalf of the property owner, Christopher Jacobs. 69% of the site's perimeter is contiguous to the City of Columbus, and the city passed ordinance number 0203-2022 on January 31st, 2022, indicating the services that will be provided once the annexation is approved, and a statement regarding possible incompatible land uses and zoning buffer. The petition meets all statutory requirements outlined in Section 709.021 of the Ohio Revised Code. Pending any questions, staff requests your approval of the resolution.
There are no comments or questions. I'll move approval of Resolution 13722.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 13722 has been adopted.
Next, we have Job and Family Services.
Resolution number 13822. Resolution approving subaward amendments with Community Refugee and Immigration Services, Ethiopian Tewahedo Social Services, Jewish Family Services, and Us Together Incorporated for refugee employability programs, an increase of $980,443.07 in the amount of $1,541,967.06.
Good morning, Commissioners. Vivian Turner, Assistant Director of Franklin County Job and Family Services. As you know, we are the only county job and family services agency to receive state refugee social services funding. The funding is intended to help eligible newly arrived refugees across the Central Ohio region to address challenges and barriers to employment, such as workplace language, workplace English, training, and employability skills. The ultimate goal is to help move these individuals and families who have been impacted by trauma and violence into an employment as soon as possible. In July of 2021, you authorized our agency to enter into an agreement with ODJFS to receive funding for year 3 of this 3-year state refugee social services grant funding cycle. This resolution awards a second allocation for year 3 to our Refugee Social Service Collaborative partners. Over the first 2 years of this grant cycle, close to, I think, over 750 eligible refugees were served, with close to 75% of those participants attaining employment, exceeding the state's target of 53%. Most of these jobs were full-time with benefits, providing an average wage of $15.86 per hour, also exceeding the state's target of $12.50 per hour. Under this amendment, the partners will continue to work collaboratively to offer program services and plan to serve over 200 refugees from throughout the Central Ohio area. This resolution supports goal number 4 of the Rise Together Blueprint, and pending any questions, we request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 13822.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 13822 has been adopted. Resolution number 13922. Resolution approving a subaward amendment with Jewish Family Services for Workforce Employment Services, an increase of $200,000 and the amount of $400,000.
Commissioners, the Community Renewal Enrichment Through Work, or CREW for short, program will provide targeted adult job seekers who are at or below 300% of the federal poverty level to receive workforce training and soft skills development services, including resume building, interviewing, and job search strategies. Job seekers are paired with a career counselor to help create an individual employment plan that identifies their goals. Those counselors work with them to remove barriers to and obtain employment. Over the first award period, Jewish Family Services enrolled 91 residents in the CREW program, and participants earned an average hourly wage of $18 per hour, above the $15 per hour goal. With this amendment, Jewish Family Services will target an additional 100 residents for job placement and assistance services and 90-day retention. This resolution aligns with goal number 4 of your Rise Together Blueprint, and pending any questions, we request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 13922.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 13922 has been adopted.
Thank you and have a wonderful day.
You too,
You
thanks.
too.
You too.
Next, we have Justice Policy and Program.
Resolution number 14022. Resolution authorizing the Franklin County Administrator to execute a contract with the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas, Division of Domestic Relations and Juvenile Branch for the performance of court-appointed special advocates, guardian ad litem services for the court in the amount of $500,000.
Good morning, Board of Commissioners, and the administration and guests. I am Rochelle Pride, Director for the Office of Justice Policy and Programs. For 31 years, court-appointed special advocates of Franklin County have provided the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas, Division of Domestic Relations and Juvenile Branch with the services of trained CASA volunteer guardians ad litem. In calendar year 2022, CASA Franklin County will recruit, train, and support volunteer guardian ad litem to provide service to a minimum of 800 children suffering abuse and neglect, or 350 cases that involve abuse and neglect. For its part, the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas, Division of Domestic Relations and Juvenile Branch has expressed its desire to maintain this long-standing relationship with CASA under the conditions above. The court agrees to pay the Board of Commissioners $500,000 for these services. As this is an agreement between sections of local government, authorization for the county administrator to sign the contract is requested. Pending any questions, we would seek approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I will move approval of Resolution 14022.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 14022 has been adopted. Resolution number 14122. Resolution authorizing a contract modification for peer support and case management services with Impact Community Action through the FY18 Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration Medication Assisted Treatment Grant Program in the amount of $58,000.
The Franklin County Board of Commissioners authorized receipt of a FY 2018 SAMHSA Medication Assisted Treatment Grant in the amount of $1,571,626 to support sustainment of the Pathways Achieving Recovery by Choice program in the Franklin County Correction Center, an expansion of the program to include a male pathways program, and the addition of behavioral health and case management staff to coordinate continuity of care and transition from jail to the community for individuals identified with an opioid use disorder. Impact Community Action was awarded by Resolution 0403-21 on May 25th, 2021, a contract to provide group facilitation, peer support, and case management services for justice-involved individuals at risk of an opioid-related overdose. This resolution requests approval of a contract modification with Impact Community Action that amends the original contract award amount of $85,000 to reflect an increase of $58,000, with a final revised contract amount not to exceed $143,000. This increase in funding will support additional peer support linkages and services offered to justice-involved individuals involved in various JPP programs for the duration of the contract period that is scheduled to terminate March 31st of 2022. All other terms and conditions in the contract not inconsistent with the modifications made by this amendment will remain in full force and effect and remain unchanged by the amendment request. Please note the purchase order proof reflects the portion of the award that we anticipate will be liquidated during calendar year 2022. Pending any questions, we would seek approval of this resolution.
There are no comments or questions. I'll move approval of Resolution 14122.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley.
Yes.
Resolution number 14122 has been adopted. Resolution number 14222. Resolution authorizing 5 COVID-19 recovery grants with choices for victims of domestic violence, Ethiopian Tewahedo Social Services, Huckleberry House, Ohio Health Research Institute, and Ohio Hispanic Coalition to provide victim services under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, H.R. 1319, in the amount of $886,382.36.
Thank you. Before going into this resolution, I want to give some background and context related to how we arrived at the recommendation that is before you today for approval. During the last quarter of 2021, the Office of Justice Policy and Programs conducted a competitive grant review of applications for American Rescue Plan funding with guidance and support from County Administration, OMB, and our government affairs. This process was initiated in response to the Ohio Health one-off request received by our Board of Commissioners, which catalyzed a comprehensive OJPP analysis and recommendation related to urgent victim services of existing VAWA recipients impacted by significant VOCA cuts and the COVID-19 pandemic. That analysis and the resulting recommendations do align with our ARP federal guidelines. This resolution would authorize the use of $886,382.36 to provide victim services under that American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, H.R. 1319. These services will be provided by 5 local nonprofit agencies, each of which has proven itself to be a qualified and effective partner in providing critical services to domestic violence survivors in Franklin County, Ohio. The organization which were selected using a competitive grant review process are Choices for Victims of Domestic Violence in the amount of $359,034, will provide shelter and crisis hotline services, as well as counseling services, support groups, legal and community advocates, transitional housing, and domestic violence awareness and prevention education to domestic violence victims in our community. Ohio Health Research Institute, in the amount of $300,000, will provide services via its Trauma Recovery Center, which addresses the needs of victims of crime who experience physical trauma, and the Sexual Assault Response Network of Central Ohio, known as SARNCO, which functions as the Rape Crisis Center for Central Ohio, our Central Ohio community. Huckleberry House, in the amount of $109,656 will use federal funds to support the Victim Services Program in its Transitional Living Program. This program provides housing and support to transition-age youth between the ages of 18 to 24 who are victims of domestic violence. Approximately 90% of these youth are parenting young children between the ages of birth to 3 years old. The Ohio Hispanic Coalition, in the amount of $83,581.19 through its Soy Latina Victim Services Program, will provide access to quality, culturally, and linguistically appropriate services to address economic justice needs and victim safety for low-income, limited English proficient, immigrant, Latino, Hispanic victims of crime, including domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault and stalking, and human trafficking in Franklin County. Ethiopian Twahedo Social Services in the amount of $34,111.17 will provide direct services to survivors of domestic violence and human trafficking in the immigrant and refugee communities through its family care program. The funds awarded will not only address the increased demand for victim services throughout the ongoing pandemic, but also consecutive annual cuts of 37% in Victims of Crime Act, known as VOCA funding, for each of these organizations. For this reason, makes it advisable to reimburse the above-mentioned organizations for services provided to the residents of Franklin County during the period beginning October 1, 2021 through December 31st of 2022. Pending any questions, we would seek approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 14222.
Oh, you're saying, second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Abstain.
Resolution number 14222 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention. Resolution number 14322. Resolution authorizing a COVID-19 recovery grant with choices for victims of domestic violence to complete construction and purchase furnishings associated with shelter expansion, providing additional victim services to Franklin County residents in the amount of $1,200,000.
This resolution authorizes the use of the $1.2 million to provide victim services under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, HR 1319, to Choices for Victims of Domestic Violence, which operates the sole domestic violence shelter in Franklin County. Since the beginning of the pandemic, Choices has experienced a 17% increase in calls to its crisis hotline and a 33% increase in the number of people sheltered. This shelter expansion will increase capacity by 6 bedrooms, which equals 24 beds, 4 full bathrooms, a sitting area, and a laundry room. This area of the shelter has been completely shelled using private donations. ARPA funds requested will complete a construction and purchase of furnishings for that area. Shelter residents are offered a full array of services to assist in their recovery from the trauma of domestic violence and help them move safely back into the community. Services offered on site include case management services, counseling, therapeutic and recreation groups, medical and dental services, legal advocacy, housing and employment assistance, and kennels for family pets. This funding is recommended following a competitive grant review process. Due to the scope of this expansion project, it is advisable to reimburse Choices for applicable expenses incurred during the period of October 1, 2021 through December 31st of 2023. Please note that Choices is in a separate resolution due to the amount and reporting specific to capital expenditures. Pending any questions, we would seek approval of this resolution. Thank you.
If there are no comments or questions, I will move for approval of Resolution 14322.
Good work. Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 14322 has been adopted.
Thank you all and have a happy Tuesday.
Have a happy Tuesday. Thank you. Next, we have purchasing.
Resolution number 14422. Resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $16,417,706.55.
Good morning, Commissioners. Megan Perry-Balanier, Director of Purchasing, and joining me is Marlise Ryan, Economic Equity Administrator in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Commissioners, this resolution requests your approval of 261 purchase orders for which the County Auditor has pre-certified available funding. I'll hand it off to Marlise for the Small and Emerging Business Enterprise data. Good morning, Marlise.
Good morning, Director, and good morning, Commissioners. One of the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion's goal is to provide economic impact to support agencies to increase supplier diversity of goods and services of small and emerging businesses within Franklin County. We have for your approval 32 purchase orders presented for award to 8 small emerging business enterprises, 7 minority business enterprises, 16 women business enterprise, and one disadvantaged business enterprise, totaling $1,069,265.78. This week, the following agencies provided opportunities, economic inclusion of small businesses: the Data Center, Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court, the Engineer's Office, General Services Fleet, Public Facilities Management, Probate Court, Prosecuting Attorney's Office, Sanitary Engineering, the Sheriff's Office, and Veterans Service Commission.
Commissioners, pending any questions, we request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 14422.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 14422 has been adopted.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Have a good one. Next, we have Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 14522. Resolution to designate the official representative and alternate for the purpose of voting at the annual meeting of the County Commissioners Association of Ohio in 2022.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chris Long, Deputy Administrator. The Code of Regulations of the County Commissioners Association of Ohio requires each member county to designate an official representative and alternate for the purpose of voting at annual and special meetings of the association. This resolution designates Commissioner Crawley as the official voting representative of Franklin County and Commissioner O'Grady as the alternate voting representative of Franklin County. Pending any questions, would request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 14522.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
No, I mean, yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
You want to go back to vote?
Yes, yes, my vote is yes.
Yes, I support it.
Resolution number 14522 has been adopted. Resolution number 14622. Resolution reappointing 3 members to the Board of Trustees for the Rise Together Innovation Center.
Commissioners, as you know, this board approved Resolution 51518 for the purpose of the development of a county-wide poverty assessment and strategic plan. The board convened a steering committee in the fall of 2018 to analyze the causes of poverty in the county and consider the urgent need to mitigate local poverty and propose solutions. The result of this collaboration was the development of the Rise Together Blueprint for reducing poverty in Franklin County, which included 13 goals and 120 action steps to reduce poverty in the county. The Rise Together Innovation Center was established to carry on the ongoing work of the blueprint, as well as considering and vetting big ideas that came out of the steering committee's work. This resolution will reappoint to the Board of Trustees of the Rise Together Innovation Center Trudy Bartley, Terry Green, and Guadalupe Velasquez. Pending any questions, would recommend your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I will move approval of Resolution 14622.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 14622 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any generalizations?
We do not.
Are there any members of the media who has any questions? Hearing none, if there is no additional business to come before the board, that concludes session for today. Everyone have a wonderful day.
So more importantly than today being Tuesday.
Tuesday.
2/22/22, today is also National Margarita Day.
Oh, I mean, that, we should have had something on
I'm
the
just
agenda
saying.
for that.
I'm
And
just
it's Taco
saying.
Tuesday, so.